we have a video or some kind of cool art video going on so when they get in there. And then we thank them for coming, we welcome them, and our art club students, they take, for example, I'll say, okay, those who are going into figure drawing, please follow these students out the back door, and then they will go. And they take them to the room. We tell them that when they get in there, find their place, and we were very careful to make sure our kids don't get the first choice, okay? Because we had a hard time at the beginning wondering if we should invite our kids to do this, because there isn't a school in this area, and I really wanted our kids to participate too. So we keep everything a secret from them in terms of what the still life is. We don't want them to have any heads-up knowledge ahead of time. So when you get in the room, make a nest. Get ready. You can have all the headphones, everything that you want. Get ready, and then I get on the intercom at 6 o'clock. Not, 5 or whatever it is. I can't remember the timeline. And I'll say, okay, you may begin. And they have an hour and a half. And every 30 minutes, we have a little break. And the students, it's very exciting because they're all scared to death because they don't know anyone else. They think that they're the best, at their school, but they get here, then they're worried they're the worst, And so the tension is high. And we let them, at the 30-minute time period, tell them it's a bathroom break. Go ahead and take a break, and they can go into other students' rooms. Like if my friend was in figure drawing, I could go in there and see her artwork. And it is so exciting to see the students. In ceramics, it seems to be they're very talkative and chitty-chatty, and they talk about, oh my gosh, that's really cool, that's a great idea. But in the other rooms, they're very quiet. I don't know if there's a difference between 2D and 3D or what it is. But then at the end of the time period, the hour and a half, I'll say over the intercom, time's up. We want you to go ahead and go into the foyer, and then they have the time to look at all the previous artwork that's out there that's been already graded by the judges. And when they go out there, then the judges come in and go room by room, and they then do a jury of the first, second, and third place. And then we sneak everything in through the back of the theater so that we try to keep it so they can't see the winners. We actually bring the real pieces there, and we have an assembly at, I think it's 7 o'clock. The parents come, a lot of parents come, and that's exciting too. And then we say in the area of painting, third place is, so we hold the piece up. We just don't give away ribbons. The thing about UCM that I thought was sad is they don't get ribbons for doing any of these competitions. They get a piece of paper with a handwritten 1, 2, or 3. And I thought, oh, that's sad. So what I wanted to do was not just to give ribbons. I wanted to give them great looking ribbons, but I also wanted to give away art supplies. And so when I went to the Raymore Optimist Club, they were so generous, and they gave us enough money so that we could give, like, third place for, let's say for painting, would be 2 canvases. Second place, you would get what third place got, 2 canvases, but you would get some paintbrushes and a palette. And then for first place, you'd get the 2 canvases, the palette and the paintbrushes, and paint. So you got, as it went, you got more. And teachers loved it, the area teachers. And I have to tell you, when I really thought, am I going too long?
No.
Okay. I really thought that that we'd have over 10 schools. We said the deadline is 10. We've never had 10. We've had 5 the first year, 6 and 7, and then 9, 9, 9, 9, 9. And I was really surprised. I thought more schools would take advantage of it. And with budget cuts, we can take buses to all kinds of sporting events, but a lot of schools won't let the art department take buses, and it's very sad. And I always like to say something to the parents, especially, and the teachers. We also have a hospitality room for the teachers while they're there, and we give them a gift. We as teachers at the high school, we silk screen our own aprons and give it to them or something like that, and just some little gift for them to make them feel appreciated. And then we talk about at the very end how much the reason we do this is because sports is wonderful. It's great, but arts, I mean, there's a lot of band and music competitions, but very few art. And so we just appreciate the parents coming out for this. And even if your child didn't win, it's such a good experience to be in a room, and the kids really bond. It's exciting to see. They may not know the students that are sitting next to them, but they have this bond that I'm an artist, and you are too. And so what I wanted to share with you was we would love the opportunity to have you participate in any way you can. I was telling Heather I would love to have you to be able to help us hang up things. Anyway, I hadn't really thought about maybe one of you could be a judge for us, and every year something different, someone different. I don't know if there could be other possibilities in the whole evening, because we always say it's from about 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock till start to finish. And I just wanted to let you guys know about that. I know that, I don't know, I met with the Raymore Council last year about the roundabout, and they wanted to know if I had any ideas for the roundabout. I had plenty of ideas, and I think it was overwhelming to them to use student artwork out there. It would be great. And any way I can help you, I want to help you. And it's my last year, and I know I'm going to still be there a lot. I thought I would just volunteer to help them because it's hectic at the end. So I think that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Laura, thank you very much. We certainly, appreciate your input, and as a value community member, I'm sure we'll be looking forward to your participation at some point in the future, and, feel free to reach out to us at some other time and let us see how we can help. But thank you for your presentation, and it was very enlightening, and I hope your successor does the same thing.
I'm sure that they will. I really do. I did want to say a couple other ways that you could help us with publicity. That would be great. Financial, anything that we don't need it for the spring because that's part of our budget. But anything in the fall would be awesome to have for that November competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Great. I'll follow up with Laura tomorrow. Laura, I'll connect with you, and we can talk about some more specifics based on the request this evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. I'll get your
Thank you. All right, at this time, could we have our staff reports, please?
Absolutely, thank you. So the first staff report we have this evening is just a budget update for you all, and there is a change on this. The festival in the park ad, we had originally budgeted $150, but we thought you all would want it in color in the publication, and so for an additional $100, we went ahead and just upgraded that. So it should be $250 for the festival in the park ad, which would change your remaining balance into $2,561. I apologize, that didn't make it into the packet. Are there any questions about other items on the budget before I move on? Okay. The next item on the agenda this evening is the community stakeholder workshop. I wanted to let you know that the City Council has heard the first reading of the contract for Jill Grotzinger, and the second reading will take place at the September 14th City Council meeting. It did pass for the first reading, so I would expect that it will pass at the second reading. Once it passes, I will get in touch with Jill. We already have the signed contract from her end, so once the mayor goes ahead and signs that, the next step will be to set up a meeting for staff along with the chair and vice chair to meet with Jill to talk about setting up the questions, who we want to start inviting, get some dates set, etc. And so we'll get right to work on that, and then we'll provide a more detailed report for all of you at the October meeting. One of the big components of this, as you know, is actually getting people to come to the community conversations. And so Mike has put together an outline of a communications plan that he's going to go over with you tonight, and I will hand that out for him. Yeah. Why don't you talk about
I will let her pass that out.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
So the first page that you'll be receiving kind of outlines a draft communications plan that I'd put together for the commission as a whole. Here in the next year, it's going to be important for us to establish one, kind of your essentially credentials as commissioners, and also to let residents know, one, that you are in business and working for the community, and two, what exactly that is going to be. I know that's a little bit like putting the cart before the horse, as we're having these listening sessions to actually determine what it is residents are looking for. And so that's why I presented both of these communications plans, because I wanted you to kind of get a sense for what we're going to be looking to do for the commission, as I said, as a whole, but then also what we're going to be doing to communicate what we're going to be doing for the listening sessions themselves. For the communication strategy overall, a lot of what we're going to be looking at is three distinct audiences. One is going to be a group of residents who are interested in participating in the arts, maybe aren't artists themselves, but are definitely interested in kind of the consumption or the participation. The second would be residents who are interested in the arts and interested in becoming more involved. Either they are artists on the side as a hobby or as kind of a recreation, and are looking to do something a little bit more. And the third audience that I thought we would really want to start talking to and identifying is going to be local artists who are looking to either grow into a business or are established artists looking to grow their presence in the community in some way. In the past, having worked with arts commissions and arts groups, these really kind of stand out as our three dominant groups. These three groups also are kind of spoken to, and we relate with them in a very different ways. I think you all already are members of different art communities and different art organizations, and you're going to know folks within the arts community, and that's important. And I think we're also going to need to start reaching out to some of those residents who maybe have not been familiar with those arts communities themselves. Two goals that I identified were the promotion and awareness of the Arts Commission and its members, and the second goal is to promote the activities of the commission and some of the work that you all be doing, and that will be work we'll do through the website and through an email listserv that I would like to establish. We'll begin growing here in the next year as well. That kind of lends directly into what we'll be doing with the listening sessions themselves. I've broken this into three tiers. The first tier is a lot of work we're going to do before the listening sessions. This is going to involve working with the local media as well as a lot of the owned media. And when I say owned media, I mean the Raymore Review, our Facebook page, the Twitter account, Channel 7, some of the other areas where we already have some control and ability to talk about what's being done here with the commission. Through that, we're going to be directing people to sign up for the monthly email, as well as directing them to the website, where I hope we'll be creating a little bit more content for folks to interact with. That will also be a good opportunity to advertise the time, dates, locations of the listening sessions themselves. Beforehand, we'll also like to probably introduce you all to a couple civic organizations and get you all out in front of those groups, such as the Optimist, Chamber of Commerce, talk about those listening sessions and the importance of them, as well as to encourage people to, again, sign up for that email list. During the listening sessions, we'll again encourage people to sign up for the email list, let them know what exactly we're going to be communicating with them, and at the same time telling them that the results from that list, those listening sessions, will be coming almost exclusively probably through that email listserv. Rather than taking out ads in the newspaper or spending a lot of money on print production or a print run, essentially printing booklets of the results, I think it's going to be much more cost efficient to publish those online and have those spread email, Facebook, Twitter, and so on. And then after the listening sessions, We'll again follow up with results and continue to hopefully follow up on some of the goals and the priorities that have been set through the listening sessions. And we can give updates on projects throughout the year. And so really both these plans are something that I think we could use in the coming year throughout, I guess, 2015, 2016. Any questions on the plan itself? I know it's kind of a quick run through a draft. And
I'd like to hear more about the website ideas.
so initially what I would like to do is, since we're just beginning, I'd like to start a series of features that would highlight each of the individual commissioners. From there, that would give us some content to run through the next 6 to 7 months, I think, with the commissioner being highlighted each month. Following that, I would like to then see you all reach out to some of your organizations and other local artists so that we can highlight them in the community through some of the assets, the website, as well as the email on a monthly basis. That would be just from a feature perspective. Some of the other work that you all will be doing through the listening sessions, and then we'll be able to create content from those listening sessions that we can put on the website. One of the other items that I placed on here, and I'm trying to remember where we had placed it, down under goal number 2, promoting some of the activities. What I would like to do is create, the calendar of events. These would be events that you all have either sponsored or are supporting in some way that we could place on a calendar that would be on the Arts Commission website, as well as on the city's calendar of events. This would be another, again, a place where we could send people, or as we could kind of funnel people to find out more information, about what you all are doing. It also kind of creates this umbrella location where if anyone in the city of Raymore is looking for arts and cultural events, hopefully they'll know then to go to our /arts website, where they'll be able to find a variety of events, information, and other things. Also like to create or curate some information. As we were talking about, one of the audiences we'd like to talk to is going to be artists who are already established and looking to grow their craft or grow their trade. We could also start establishing and linking things to the Missouri Arts Council, grants that we know of that go on an annual basis, and other tools that I think other artists would find helpful within the community.
Sounds good.
I will just note, we're in the process of redoing the entire city website right now, and I think the new platform that we will go to will lend itself much better to these sort of sub-sites that we're talking about. If you look at our current website, it's not very easy to do that, but the new platform should really enable us to do that, not only for the Arts Commission, but Parks and Rec, et cetera, some of those more specialized areas within the city operations.
Are there any other questions?
Mike, have you thought about, or have you all talked about any more about integrating an online survey with the?
Absolutely, and with the kind of the website as well as a monthly email, it will be very easy to integrate a survey, whether that's on the back end of listening surveys or even or the listening sessions or during the listening sessions. I could envision us creating some small piece of collateral, be it postcard sized or brochure sized, that we could even hand out at those events, directing people to the survey. So maybe they didn't feel comfortable enough to speak up during an in-person event, they could go home, put their thoughts together, and then go participate in a survey that we could collect after the fact.
Great.
I will note that the city council, they're testing sirens. They do
Okay.
it at the start of every time. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was very important to the city council that there be an online component of the community listening sessions. And so Jill is aware of that, and it was written into her revised contract that you all approved. And so one of the tasks will be to sit down and help develop questions with her so that they coordinate well with the questions she'll be asking during the in-person listening session. So that definitely is a component of this.
Thank you. Are there any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Mike, you did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I think we'll move on to the Festival in the Park update. And Mike, is that you again?
I think Commissioner Barry.
Okay.
Would you like
Either
to give
one
us
of
an
you?
update?
I know you're working together on
Yeah.
that, so. Bob, if you want to give us a brief update?
Sure. Well, we've taken a slight detour with the float idea. Instead of, having people up there pretending to be artists and waving and things like that, we thought it'd be better to actually showcase some talent. And in this case, we're talking about having some musical talent on the back of the float to play some pieces. And right now, we're talking with the Kansas City Youth Symphony to get a quartet or a quintet, but some people to come out, show us what they can do, play some crowd pleasers, get us going. And we could take the people that were going to be on the float and doing the wave, put them out there to hand out Mike's flyers, hand out some candy, get people, moving around, and not just have just the mimes playing and having fun, but having some dressed up as artists or ballerina perhaps. So, but that's the idea right now. We are working to try to get the quartet. We're in the process of that, and that's where we are right now. Logistically, we've got a few things ready for the trailer, the float. We've got all that taken care of. Got a truck, got a trailer. Trailer's a little rough. My brother-in-law said she's not pretty, but it's gorgeous. We'll take it. Thank you. And we've got and I've got all sorts of little decorations saved in my Amazon.com cart, ready to go. So that's where we are right now.
Thank you, Bob. And if, again, if you need any help from any of us, those of us who are around and can lend help in any way, please feel free to ask us.
I'll do that right now.
Yeah.
Anyone that would like to volunteer some friends and/or family to be an artist or a ballerina or what have you, and to hand out the candy to some of the crowd and basically walk the route with us. That's actually one of the reasons why we went to this showcasing talent idea, because I think there's about 3 of us that aren't going to be available to walk the route for sure. I'd be out there except I'm driving the truck, so that's what I'll be doing. And however, if I do get my brother-in-law to drive his own truck, then I will be out walking the route and handing out stuff and doing that too. But anyone who'd like to do that with me, please, love to see you there. And if you have any friends who want to dress up and wear a costume and pretend, wear some paintbrushes and flannel and stuff, I'd love to see them to talk to me.
Bob, when do you need, if any of us have family or friends who want to participate, when do you need notification of that?
Oh, as soon as you can get it to me,
Okay.
I'll coordinate with them.
Thank you, Bob.
I have something to add.
Meredith, yes.
So I had originally sent out an email about people who would be interested to assist with judging that day, and I did hear back from some of you. Already do have plenty of judges for that event, and so I think it would be, nice for one of you to be a judge. So someone from the Arts Commission. Of course, that means that the Arts Commission float wouldn't be able to win any prizes. But I think if you're concerned about whether you should be a judge for the parade or participate in the Arts Commission float, there are plenty of judges for the event otherwise. So you can just let me know what you would like to do, and I can communicate that.
Meredith, would it be beneficial for recognition purposes to have one of the commissioners as a judge, or is that not?
I think it would be nice, since you all are sponsoring the parade, to have somebody up there and being, with the judges and by the people making the announcements, et cetera. But I think one would be enough if the rest of you are interested in walking with the parade float. So I'll let you all sort that out and just let me know, and Mike know what to communicate with the parade organizers.
Okay, I think I
Sorry.
can do that. Heather?
I would like to say, I think the float sounds really cool, and I would like for it to be judged.
Okay. I'm not sure. I think it does sound really cool. I'm not sure what they would think about the key sponsor of the entire parade winning the parade.
Okay, never
Yeah.
mind.
Yes, I
We're
think it
going
would
to be
be
awesome.
considered a conflict
Yeah.
of interest. But I am, as much as possible, I'll help participate in one way or another. And family members, trying to put the arm on family members there.
Yeah.
Becky, did you have a comment?
I just had one clarification for the notes. It's actually the Kansas City Symphony that we're working with to try to get a quartet. I think he said the Youth Symphony, so yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions or discussion? Okay, if we can move on to the discussion about the brackets in the art chambers? I mean, in the council chambers, I'm sorry.
Yes, so
Meredith?
Commissioner Gambrell at the last meeting asked that staff investigate putting brackets to hang art on in the council chambers. I have had a conversation with our facilities group to take a look at if that's possible. Right now, if you look around, you'll see we have these fabric panels that are hanging on the wall. Essentially, they're just bulletin boards, and so they can't hold very much weight. And so they're doing some investigating right now to see what brackets, just if there's a way for us to hold more art. But in general, the city manager is very supportive of the idea, as well as our facilities group. So I will have more of an update for everyone at the October meeting once we get the logistics of that worked out.
Thank you. All right, we have one item on the consent agenda tonight, and that is the minutes from the August 11th meeting. May I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So move.
A second?
Second.
Thank you. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes from August 11th? Okay, all those approving the minutes, please raise your hand. All right, it's a unanimous vote to approve the minutes from August 11th. Thank you. All right, on to old business. The Tri-County Art League Art Fest. If you'll recall, at our last meeting, we earmarked $300 to support the student art contest as part of the Tri-County Art League Art Fest. And I guess at that meeting, we were uncertain about some of the proposal as it pertained to prizes for that. And I will speak on behalf of the Tri-County Art League. The issue with the prizes is a non-event, that because it's not subject to the, and Pat, please tell me the MSHA rules and regulations. We've been told that we can offer, that the Tri-County Art League can offer prizes, so that is not an issue that we have to be concerned with. The Tri-County Art League is going to offer the contest to students K through 12. They are going to offer the students, the art contest to all 10 schools in the Raymore Peculiar area. Don't ask me for a list of the names because I can't remember them all, but it will go out to all the art teachers in those 10 schools. The prizes, you know, that they are thinking of offering, just as Laura had mentioned, is art supplies and gift certificates for art supplies. And they are even thinking of offering perhaps a workshop prize. So the Tri-County will take charge of all the administration of this art contest. We will be serving as sponsors, so therefore any brochures, banners, publications will have the Raymore Art Commission logo on it, and Mike has been kind enough to provide that, and I believe that the Tri-County Art League has already designed both the brochure that's going out to the schools and the banners and the flyer that will be put up in all the businesses around. So that's been taken care of. Is there any other questions or discussion about that? Okay, may I have a motion to approve $300 in support of the Tri-County Art League Art Contest?
So move.
A second, please?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded to approve the $300 in support of the Tri-County Art League Art Fest. May I have a vote on that, please? All in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. All right, on to streetlight banners. In August, we briefly discussed the proposal for funding banners and brackets to hang on the streetlights in the Raymore area. At that point in time, we unanimously decided to revisit the topic in this meeting, and at this point in time, I'd like to just have Meredith briefly discuss what has transpired since that last meeting.
Thank you very much. Commissioner or Chair Paris and I went to the August Park Board meeting and discussed this proposal with them as well. Essentially, we asked if they would be interested in splitting the cost to purchase 10 brackets for 10 KCPL poles and 12 brackets for Municipal Circle. They indicated that they would be interested in doing that, and so once you all make a decision tonight on how to move forward, then they will formally consider it at their September meeting. I think Chair Paris would echo my sentiments that they were very supportive of it, and I think are definitely interested in partnering with the Arts Commission on this. So the amount that I included in your packet, it's if we go exactly, it's $1,394 would be the Arts Commission half of that. We do like to typically budget with a 10% contingency to cover any shipping costs, etc. And so the total amount I would be asking for approval for this evening is $1,540. And we would ask for the same from the Parks Board to make sure that we have some wiggle room there with the cost. And then, of course, report back what the final cost would be to you all on that once we get them ordered. So this would come out of this year's budget, and then as part of next year's budget, you all could consider banners, etc., for different locations throughout town. I did have a discussion with Nathan Mustine, the Parks and Rec Director, and we both agreed that we could work internally to figure out who would be putting up banners when, and that we would make sure that those are split equally between the departments, etc. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Commissioner, was there discussion regarding where we would be placing these banners? Because I know we talked about last time several options. I didn't know what was settled on.
Nothing has been settled on it yet. Essentially, we know that we can put up at a maximum 10 KCPL poles at any given time. Of course, there are a lot of different poles that those could go on. And so once we make the decision to purchase the brackets, we have plenty of time to decide where they would be located throughout town. Then the small brackets fit all of the poles around Municipal Circle and the poles in Original Town as well. We do control the installation of that, so those can be moved very easily depending on what the banners say and what any department is interested in highlighting at any given time.
Yes. Commissioner Heather?
Yeah.
Sorry. Harriet?
So this did not include either the original Old Town or whatever we're calling it,
Original Town.
Original Town,
Yeah.
or Recreation Park, which I would think Parks and Rec people would be very happy to at least go halves on. But because those two places seem to me to be where, at this point in time, more Raymore citizens gather in those places than any place else. So I think those would be optimal, maybe even before the 12 municipal pole banners.
So the brackets that we would, when I say municipal pole banners, those fit on the Original Town poles as well.
Okay.
So the brackets wouldn't need to be necessarily around Municipal Circle. We could take those brackets and put them in Original Town. The issue with the lights in the parks is they're square, and so these brackets won't fit them. The Parks Board did actually have that conversation and discussed potentially purchasing brackets for the parks out of their own budget at some point in time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So would it be possible for us to increase the number, because we still have a little money left, to increase the number of what you're calling municipal pole brackets, so we could add them in Original Town now, and then no banners yet, I guess is what, which seems right to me, that we're not ready to decide what the banners are gonna be anyway, but I would like to use as much of our funds as we can before we lose them.
Sure.
To get those brackets, whether they're up and running or whatever, but to at least have them in hand.
Absolutely.
So do you have a feeling for the Parks and Rec Board about whether they would go for more if we did?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Meredith. I believe the Parks and Rec Board wanted us to come back with a formal proposal, so I think tonight if we vote on an amount, to split with them, that we should include any extras, just so that when we do go back to them with our formal proposal, that's already included. But I don't think they would have any objection, but I don't know for certain.
Yeah, so
And-
it would, go ahead.
Well, do you know how many poles there are in Old?
There are quite a few poles.
Are there?
More than we would be able to purchase one for every.
Okay.
So you have $2,500 left in your budget.
Right.
And that does not include, that's before you take out the 1,500. So one option would be to say purchase as many poles as we could get for $2,500. And then we would ensure that there are 10 KCPL poles, and then use the rest of the money to purchase any brackets for the municipal poles.
Right, and it's my understanding this is our last chance to sort of get that financial, this year's
Yeah,
apportioned amount to spend it.
yeah, you still
So-
have an October meeting, so if something came up, you could consider it. But this is a good time. If you have a project you want to spend it on, this would be a great time to do that.
I mean, I'd just like to suggest that we spend as much as we can on brackets, so then we'll have that many more banners, and we'll be ready. I can't do the math that fast, though, so.
Yeah,
uh,
there's always that contingency
contingency, yes.
piece, but I can certainly maximize that budget for you all
Okay.
in the order.
Is there any other, are there any other commissioner comments or questions? Discussion about what Harriet just discussed?
Well, not in regards to what Harriet just said, but I just, again, I think we should talk about if this expense would fulfill our duties as an arts commission, and that's the big question I have about this expense.
I would say that, I mean, it's kind of hard to say that this fulfills our obligation as an arts commission when it's only half of what we'd be doing. I mean, the real portion of this is when we, consider the design for the banners, which I think at some point in time, someone mentioned, or maybe I did, I don't remember, but that we could involve the community in designing the banners, which would fulfill your concern about that. But I think the issue here is that we'd like to spend the remainder of the budget that we have this year, and unless, because we're running out of time, unless someone can come up with another idea that would fulfill that, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
Commissioner Gamro?
If I remember correctly, the population of Raymore, it's like 25% students. We have a huge youth population, and we've discussed before wanting to do something for them. I'd like to maybe sponsor some artists to go into the schools and do a performance, or to teach an art class, or to do poetry reading, or I think that might be a really good use of money. I like the bracket idea a lot, but it's sort of abstract for me, like 12 brackets or more brackets, or it's just, I'd like to do something a little bit more concrete now for the students.
But the problem with that is we don't have the time or the concrete idea to get this budget amount spent in the time we have to spend it. I mean, it has to go through, I don't disagree with you at all, Heather, but we don't have to use every bracket every time we want to put up banners, for example. So that future expenditures will depend on how much we want to, how many different events or opportunities or messages we want to put on those banners. But just to have them there, it seems to me, is a happy thought, and gives us, that can be as you said, we can involve student artists in designing banners, for example, or have a banner workshop, for example, for students. So, we can think creatively about it.
Meredith, did you have comments?
Yeah, I think I just wanted to add that this is more of an infrastructure purchase, and I think it does a nice job laying the foundation to be able to do more artistic things later on. Whether you decide to purchase more brackets or not, I think this could go a long way in creating some community and public art in the city if the Arts Commission has a banner contest or really focuses on putting art on the banners. One of the nice things about partnering with the Parks and Rec Department is they're responsible for purchasing any banners that would be advertising any city events. And then of course from the city's general marketing budget, we can do things like just the logo or, you know, more standard banners. But I think there's an opportunity for the Arts Commission to really be a little bit more artistic and interesting with the banners that you all put up, and leave the kind of logistic event publication stuff to other departments in the community.
Thank you, that's a nice
Commissioner.
comment, thank you.
Commissioner Barry?
Do we have any idea or indication of what Parks and Rec would want to be putting banners up for at a specific time? Have they blocked out and said, October's going to be this, or no?
No, it is one of the conversations that Director Mustine and I did have. I think you could definitely, like Festival in the Park, that might be part of the marketing that goes into that. Some of their summer events, they may want to put up banners for that. And we would certainly have to work internally to make sure that you know, each group got equal play on the banners. And you know, since KCPL is a little more challenging to get those banners up and get them changed, we would have to work together internally to figure out who got what, when, and when the priority timeframes for that. Based on my relationship with Nathan, I don't think that that'll be an issue at all. I think they're really excited about the opportunity to participate in this, and want to make sure that the Arts Commission and the Parks Department work really collaboratively on this, if that was your impression from that conversation
Yes.
as well. Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely, you know, behind the idea of let's spend this money, let's use this money so it doesn't just go away. And I understand, you know, there are opportunities to definitely bring people in front of students. However, with this current calendar budget, it might be too tight to coordinate all that, get it approved, and get it, you know, paid for with this budget. However, we're going to have a new budget in just a moment, basically. So we're ready to spend that again. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, if we wanted a specific idea that we could use the money for now, I know that there is one music teacher in our school district who is hoping to purchase ukuleles for her class. So that would be a specific project that we could do maybe with some of the money.
I would remind the commissioners that this budget year, we have to have this money spent by October 31st. So here we are, you know, in September. I think those ideas are grand and wonderful, but my concern is that we would have to start all over again with another proposal, another idea, and since we've already gone down halfway down the road with the Parks and Rec Department on the brackets, my view is that we make that a priority for the first thing for the new budget year, but that's my opinion. Is there any other discussion about that? Bob? Oh, I'm sorry, Desiree?
Well, a couple of things that come to my attention as far as the presentation tonight from Laura Richardson. You know, she mentioned the schools sponsoring I can't even think what she was calling it, basically an art show. We also have the Tri-County Art League who's sponsoring an art show. Could we have agreement that both of those events could result in the creation of an advertised banner of some sort that the students create? If we already have something planned, I'm more apt to support this proposal. If it's just going to be to buy brackets for, as you mentioned, some for unforeseen or some event that's going to come up, I'm not comfortable with that, because I think that really should be something that the city is allocating for, not necessarily coming from our budget. But if it's tied to promoting art events and students in the city, I'm good with that. And also, if we could even piggyback on some of the items that Mike had mentioned, he wants to feature all of us. Well, why couldn't we also feature some of the students who've won these contests? That way it ties in everything nicely and brings it all together for us.
I think your idea is very valid, and my thought would be that we use some of the contest winners' artwork to create some of the banners. I mean, that was kind of my thought process in the beginning, that any of the artwork, even if it's from the high school art show or the Tri-County Art League Art Fest contest, that we make that one of the first designs on a banner. I mean, I don't want these banners, my opinion is the banners should be about the community, should be artists in the community or related to art. So I know it seems like it's, you know, something out there, the brackets are, you know, hardware, but I mean, ultimately the goal is to make it something that's valuable. And that's bringing art more visible to the community. I think that was the idea to begin with, was to get it more visible as people drive down the street. You know, there's nothing to see right now. So I thought that was kind of why we had started this, but I will defer to other conversation right now.
Actually, yeah, I am in favor of, you know, preparing for the future, getting some of these things. So when we are ready to put a banner, we can say, you know, make it so and get it going. But that said, I don't want to use all that money quite yet because there's going to be another thing I want to discuss a little bit in the very next, I think it's the very next thing on the agenda. And I want to talk a little bit about that before we take any vote, if that's okay. How do we do this, you know, supposedly?
We should probably either move to table this discussion until the next meeting, but then Meredith, I'm concerned because we got to get back to the Parks and Rec Board
No.
before their meeting, and the City Council too.
Yeah. I would say maybe the appropriate thing to do would be to discuss item C first, because I think that might address some of these concerns. So table it until after the conversation. We don't need to vote on that. We can just say we'll return to this item in a second and talk about item C, and then we can come back to the vote on
Can I have a
if
motion
everyone
to-
is.
Can I have a motion to change the order of our discussion from B to C right now?
So moved.
A second?
Seconded.
Okay, then we'll go ahead and discuss. Oh, we'll vote. All those in favor of talking about item C first? Okay, unanimous. We'll talk about item C first, and Mr. Berry, you wanted to talk about that?
Okay, I'll just give a quick update first. I have had some very initial conversations, just based on the schedule of how things are working out. We're not going to be able to sit down. We weren't able to sit down before this meeting, and then I'm out of town for the majority of the rest of September. So we'll be sitting down in early October to have conversations. I was just concerned that I won't have it all pulled together in time for the October meeting. And so my suggestion to you all is going to be to hold off on this conversation until the November meeting, and have that be the first conversation as part of your new budget year as well.
Mr. Berry?
One of the things I'd like to do, because I did roll out a few things at that point.
Yeah.
And I'd like to try to separate one from the rest of the conversation, because whether we decide, you know, that we're going to spend the rest of our budget on the whole school district or throughout the schools and homeschooling to make sure everybody has a chance to get the rest of what we have to offer, I'd still like to get us to sponsor the theater department and be a friend of the theater at the Ray Peck Academy Theater here at the high school. One of the things that I did have a brief discussion with the theater instructor there, Mr. Schnocky, and I asked him, what exactly, is there a tiered approach? Is it all just one? He gave me a brief, basically he said, we love the money. If you want to come write us a check, please do. They asked for $100 minimum. And which, of course, I think I was shooting for the moon at 1,000 at that point. But and businesses do contribute. Sometimes they'll contribute just the minimum. Sometimes they'll contribute more. There's also individuals who do that as well. And it's, again, it is a brief moment. Your name is on the brochure that everyone gets when they walk in. There's a brief introduction to please turn off all those phones, and we'd like to thank the following friends of the theater. And you hear your name or your company's name or City of Raymore Arts Commission. And I think $100 should be easy. I would love to see if we could get the city council, if we would approve a slightly higher number, if they would then approve it and we could get it out of this budget.
So
we
maybe
do
the appropriate thing to do, because we've heard a somewhat of a request from the art department, and we don't have a formal request from the theater department,
Yes.
is for me to attempt to fast track those conversations and at least get a written proposal for y'all to consider. Maybe what would be appropriate for this meeting is much like you did with the Tri-County Art League Art Fest, is to earmark a portion of the budget. X hundred of dollars are going to be set aside for this conversation. And I think based on the time frame that I could get those very simple ones wrapped up by the October meeting for you all to consider and have a formal proposal to take a look at.
I'm sorry. I don't know who was first, Heather?
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Harriet?
Well, I'm just curious, I mean, I just want to make sure that we optimize our spending opportunities. So you're saying that we could do what we did in terms of the festival and say approximately $300 or up to $300.
You,
And we could do that tonight.
mhm.
And then we could specifically allocate that
Yeah.
in October and still be able to, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and you don't actually have to allocate that sort of money formally. You
Mhm.
can, if you're going to go back to the street light banner conversation, you would just leave a portion of your budget
Ah.
unspent, and we could come back in October with a more formal proposal for you to consider.
Another question regarding that.
Mhm.
So would it then still need to be approved by city council if we wanted, so it would, there's another level too as well?
There is another level. I think based on the timing of meetings in October, I would feel comfortable that it would be the very last week of October, but we should be able to get it in the budget.
Well, that sounds great.
Is there any other?
I love this idea. So I would definitely want to give them as much money as we have available.
Okay.
Pat?
I am troubled by the fact that it was just a conversation between a couple of people and it's not open to everyone. And I don't want to disenfranchise other arts groups within the district who will be sitting there going, well, Raymore Arts Commission, why didn't they help us? I would love, I have nothing against giving support to anybody, anywhere in the arts. Bless them, let's do it. But I want it to be perceived and understood by the community that it is open to all and that we have a process to do that. I know that we're in a tight time crunch, but I don't want to see us started out looking like a kind of nepotism group somehow, or I want it to be open to all and to have a process so that we can assist. I love the things that Laura Richardson talked about, but that event's in November. It's too fast for us to get there. We could do that in the future, but I'm worried about a perception that might occur to rush out and go here.
Thank you, Pat. Any thoughts from any of the other commissioners on that topic?
Yeah. I do want to, I guess, preface it by a little, because I did make it maybe sound a little clandestine, and I apologize for that. This was something that I did, in fact, I had a chance to meet the director of the theater department a few days ago, and I approached him. I don't think he had an idea I was a commissioner. He was pretty surprised by this, and I kind of explained, here's what I'm trying to do. We're trying to help different groups around town, and we're trying to take those very first steps, but we're still at kind of an embryonic stage right now. We're stumbling over ourselves, so bear with us. And that's when I asked him, what do you guys look for? Is there a tiered process when you accept any sponsorships and things like that? He was kind of surprised and awfully grateful that somebody would approach him like this, so.
Heather?
I completely agree. I would love to have this be a discussion amongst everybody in the community. We don't have time now to do that, but definitely we should be doing that. My concern is I just want the money to get to the kids somehow.
May I suggest that as much as we'd like to use all of the money and get it out the door this year, if the commissioners as a quorum or, you know, on a whole, feel that the process needs to be defined and refined and thought more, you know, given more thought, then perhaps we should put that to some type of committee and come up with a real plan of how to allocate funds to the various organizations and schools and groups. I don't know. I think we need to think about that a little more. As I was listening to Pat talk, I kind of agree with that as well. So that's perhaps something we should consider. Harriet.
Okay. I absolutely, I mean, I love process, and I think obviously, we need the process to happen at some point. I also think we were chosen as commissioners because of our contacts in the community, our knowledge of the community. Bob has knowledge of the theater department. You know, I don't think that's necessarily an unfair advantage. I think that's his networking in the community, coming to show us that there's a need or an opportunity. It's tough, I know, but and I don't think we would ever want to exclude anybody, but on the other hand, no one else has really come to us. And so we have a finite opportunity to spend a very finite amount of money. I mean, we're not talking about big bucks here. And it's given us the thought provocation that obviously we do need a process. But I'm all for also seizing the bull by the horns in the moment. And of course, I just wanted to spend all our money on brackets, so I'm very wishy-washy. But I think, again, I think we're chosen because we know what we know to some small extent what needs there are in the community. So we ought to act on those contacts that we have. I'm sorry,
So maybe the next appropriate step would be to have a motion to, maybe it would be appropriate to formally earmark a money or someone to make a motion to do that with a portion of this budget for the topic at hand. And then the outcome of that vote can provide direction on what the next steps are, and the support of the commission on this topic.
All right, well then, may I have a motion to set a dollar amount as earmarked money for supporting the art, theater of art, I'm sorry, the high school theater sponsorship for this budget year?
Can I make a suggestion that you just say like the RAPEC Arts program, to leave that
Okay.
open for the conversation with the arts department as well?
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Is there an amount to document as part of that?
You had said $100. Was that the amount that,
$100 is the I'm sorry, $100 is the minimum
Okay.
that the theater department asks to be a friend of the theater. To give you, like I said, there are businesses that will spend the minimum, and you'll hear that business's name. There are individuals that will spend $300, and you'll hear their name just the same. So, if I was going to suggest, I would suggest somewhere between $100 and $300.
For just the theater? Well, we can
That would be
discuss
just
actually allocation.
yeah, just for the theater to allocate.
If the Arts Commission is interested in having money to look at another department, you might want to consider increasing that, is my suggestion.
is there a second to that motion?
We've got to have a.
Oh, yeah, what's the dollar amount?
What would be a good dollar amount? $600.
The price is right.
Is there
Okay,
a
so make
second?
sure we have it for the record. There's a motion to earmark $600 for support of the arts programming in the RAPEC School District.
And that, to clarify, could be anything, including the theater. It could be the art program that Laura spoke about. I think we should leave it as a generic category, because that way we can filter money to other things than the theater,
Okay.
if that's in agreement with everybody.
Okay,
So that we're not specifically targeting the theater in this motion.
right. Okay, the way it's written is general enough for us to do that.
Is there a second to that? So the motion is that we earmark $600 for support of the Ray Peck High School arts programs.
I would just say Ray Peck Arts Programs, so
Ray
it's not
Peck.
high school specific.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ray Peck Arts Programs.
Programs.
Okay. Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we earmark up to $600 for support of the Ray Peck Arts Programs. And all those in favor of that motion? Okay, it's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. So I will come back at the October meeting. I will, if you could email me the contact information for who you've been speaking with, and then I'll follow up with Laura as well. And if there are any other contacts, I have some general conversations happening at the school district level, so I will try to publicize this as quickly as possible in the turnaround time that we have, so that I can have proposals for y'all to consider at the next meeting.
Thank you, Meredith.
So we should go back.
All right, with that, we're going to go back to item number B, streetlight banners. We've had the discussion about earmarking $600. Meredith, could you kind of give us an update? Where would that leave the budget at this point before we go back to the streetlight banners?
So with the $600 earmark, you have $1,961 available to you all. If you do the proposal as it sits in the packet with the 10% contingency attached to it, that's $1,540. So there would be a remaining balance of $421 available.
Which, according to the packet here, would cover maybe a couple of more brackets, which to me is not material. But I suppose we could just, if there is enough money, just buy additional brackets, whatever's left.
Another consideration that we could do for that is if you're comfortable just approving the brackets as it sees fit in here, we could come back in October with some thoughts from the marketing perspective to how to use that $400 to support the marketing plan that Mike laid out as well. So it's up to you how you'd like to move forward.
I think we need to go ahead and make a decision about the streetlight brackets tonight.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I would entertain a motion to approve the expenditure for the streetlight brackets
In the amount of $1,540.
in the amount of $1,540. Is there a motion to approve
So
that
moved.
expenditure?
So moved.
Is there a second to that motion?
Seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve the motion to expend for the streetlight brackets. And if there's any, is there any further discussion? All right, all those in favor of spending I'm recommending that we spend $1,540 on the initial purchase of streetlight brackets for the banners in the future. Please raise your hand. Okay, we have a 5 in favor and 2 dissent.
You have to call, say all those opposed.
Oh, all those opposed, I'm sorry. Okay, we have 2 opposed and 5 in favor, and the motion passes with a quorum.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will take in a formal request to the park board at their next meeting for consideration on funding the other half.
Thank you. All right, on to new business. Every August, we need to approve our calendar of meetings. We did not do that in August, so tonight we do need to approve the 2015-16 calendar of meetings. You all have that in your in your packet. May I have a motion to approve the, I'm sorry, Meredith?
Yes, before you do that, you will notice that the December meeting is proposed on this calendar for Wednesday, December 16th. Jill Grotzinger, that is the meeting that she will be presenting her results. She has her Arts Commission meeting on the second Tuesday of the month, and so she won't be available. I know that we may have some conflicts for Wednesday night, and so she is open to coming earlier or just presenting that at the January meeting if you all want. We can work around that second Tuesday in December. I know it's tough with the holidays right there as well, so I'm open to your suggestions on that, but she is available on Wednesday, December 16th, if you would like to have her at that meeting instead of on the 15th.
Are there conflicts with any of the commissioners for that evening?
Yes, I have a conflict for that evening.
And I believe, Pat, you,
Not on that Wednesday.
not on that Wednesday, okay. All those who might be able to make that Wednesday, December 16th meeting, can you please raise your hand so we know if we would have enough here? So that would be only, oh,
Still going.
I think that's a really important meeting that everyone
Yeah.
be at. I would be happy to have her look at January. I don't know if you all are interested in, I can get some other dates.
are
from
you
her.
saying that you'd like to have her come to the January Tuesday meeting? Or
Well, she
another
can't come to
Wednesday?
the January Tuesday meeting, but I could see potentially what other dates she would be available in January. I just think that's the culmination
It
of
is
a
important
very
that we're all
important
there.
process.
And, you know, I think to push it you weren't gonna consider anything past the 16th of December, right?
Well, no, I mean, she is available in January. I know we just get tight based on the holidays.
Is Monday an option instead of the Tuesday?
If you all could do 6 p.m. on a Monday night, we could probably make that work. We have city councils meetings on Monday nights, but I could see what we could work out for that potentially.
How does everybody else feel about that?
That doesn't seem like it leaves us a lot of time if we have to be done by 7 and she presents at 6.
No, maybe the thing to do would be to leave the December meeting set for Tuesday, December 15th, and I have a special workshop for her to come in and present the results, and we can decide on a time that would work best for everyone.
So would that be considered a special meeting to have her come in?
Yeah.
Okay, what's the rules about special meetings? Do we need to?
You can have one a quarter,
Okay.
so that would
Sounds
be
good
just
to
fine.
me.
Yeah.
Is that agreeable with all the commissioners? That we leave our meeting in December for Tuesday, December 15th? And then have a special meeting to hear the report from Jill sometime in January, and you will get back to us with a date?
Yeah, I'll have her look at December and January as
Okay.
well for some date options.
Okay, so please, on your calendar, mark out Wednesday, December 16th, and put Tuesday, December 15th as the December meeting. All right, do I have a motion to approve the calendar of meetings for 2015 and 16?
So moved.
A second?
Second.
All right, it's, motion is carried unanimously, so we now.
Sorry,
have
we need a vote.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. It's been moved and carried, our calendar has been set for the next year. Thank you. All right, the next new business item is committee assignments. On your agenda, you'll see that we have 2 items that I'd like to consider tonight. We do need, under bylaws, we do need to have an approval on any committee that we want to set up. The first thing that we're going to talk about is the Arts in the Park Commission liaison. As you know, Mike is going to be the chair of the Arts in the Park Committee. The commission would like to have a liaison to formally work with Mike and any committee that he sets up. Therefore, I'd like to get approval from all of the commissioners to set up a liaison. Can I see a show of hands of those in favor of setting up a liaison? Okay, everyone's approved. And in that regard, I had asked Bob Berry, as chair, I can appoint someone, but Bob is offered to help with someone, be Arts Commission liaison, and unless there's any objection, I'll serve as that liaison for the time being. until such time that we change that. And Bob, you'll be my
Be happy to help.
backup, thank you. Of course, any of the commissioners can volunteer on an individual basis to serve on Mike's committee, and I'm sure Mike will be out there working hard to find other committee members from the community and Parks and Rec and whoever else he can get to help us through this next year. It's a very important thing. We know that this is one of our major goals to have a successful Arts in the Park next year. So I'm looking forward to working with Mike, and we're expecting big things from you, Mike. Okay. The next thing that we need to approve is a public art committee, and that public art committee really is the committee who will review and research any and all types of public art, from sculptures to performing arts. It can be anything, but we need to take and establish a committee that will have time to really delve into this important topic, and therefore I would like to have the commission approve the establishment of a public art committee. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, that's unanimous that we form a public art committee. I have asked, we need 3 commissioners to serve on that public art committee. I've asked 3 commissioners, Commissioner Stutzer, Commissioner Lawrence, and Commissioner Kanovic, and they've all agreed to serve on that committee. I will defer to their committee to pick a chairman, and at that point in time, once the chair has been picked, that chairman will report directly to me to let me know about the meetings, when meetings are. As chair of the commission, I will from time to time sit in on those meetings, but I thank the commissioners who have volunteered to serve on that committee and look forward to great things from that committee. Certainly, any of the other commissioners are more than welcome to participate in the committee meetings, and you know, those folks can seek assistance from them in any way that they want. So thank you very much for that. And are there any comments?
Will there be a staff assigned? to the
Yes,
committee?
there-
Do we know who that is?
It will be me.
It will be Meredith. So Meredith will be the Public Art Committee staff liaison. So Mike will work with the art in the parks, and Meredith will work with the Public Art Committee. Now, obviously, in the future, there will be other committees that we need to form. So those of you not involved directly with any of this right now will be certain to be called upon for upcoming committee work. So thank you. If there's no further discussion about that, any staff comments? Okay.
Excuse me, no more staff comments this evening?
All right, finally, just before we wrap up, I'd like to just go around the table here and see if there's any brief comments from any of the commissioners, and that can be relating to things you've seen, done, any comments that you have, any future agenda items that you might want to see. So Becky, won't you please start?
I don't have any comments, thank you.
Bob?
My son Michael has been making a zombie movie for the past 3 years, and we got to see it at the Ray Peck Academy Theater just a few days ago, and it was awesome. I'm very proud.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Harriet, do you have anything?
I've said plenty this evening, thank you.
I would just like to comment briefly that one of our commissioners is very involved in making sure that the community knows about the artwork, and I'd like to thank Heather for her expert help in getting that message out to the community in the form of her column in the North Cass County Herald. I've read it with interest, and also, if you remember, she donated a piece of artwork to the city council, and for that I just want to thank her because she's been doing a great job. So thanks for that, Heather. Pat? Okay. Heather, do you have any comments?
I have an idea for a future committee. I'd like to have an education committee that would focus not just on children's and programming and performances and stuff for them, but also educating our city officials and the residents about art and stuff like that.
Thank you.
Desiree?
Okay, with that, there's no other commissioner comments. I will entertain a motion for adjournment of this meeting.
So moved.
Second, please.
Seconded.
Okay, thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you all. It's 8, oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor of adjourning? Thank you, that's unanimous. We will adjourn at 8:25 PM. Thank you very much.